In this tutorial, I want to talk about the design of an AQP curriculum. When it comes to your particular curriculum, you might do things a little bit different. The idea here is just to give you an understanding of how are things done within the MINT system. We will start with record items. Record items in the context here are training objectives like SPO or TPOs. And these training objectives might be described by an unlimited number of customer designed properties, like criticality with the value yes or no. You might have many more properties to describe your training objectives. The next is we have our curriculum, and the curriculum is made up by a number of events. The curriculum designer now assigns record items or training objectives to this event. When he does that, he deals with a different kind of properties. An example here is the minimum requirement of media. Do we need an FFS, do we need an FTD, or do we need a classroom? A Cut 3 approach and landing in a training event might require just an FTD, whereas the same training objective in an evaluation event needs a full flight simulator. Now let's look at the student. Of course, the curriculum designer during the design time doesn't know who the students are. They will be scheduled later on the event. But we must make sure that we have the right properties to capture the required data. For example, the instructor, name or ID, or the completion date. And then, after the training has finished, we assign the training objective to the student during the grading process. Properties here may be the grade, like unsatisfactory, satisfactory, standard, or excellent. As you can see, we need a lot of different properties, and I will show you now how these can be prepared and set up in the MINT system. Here we are now in our MINT system, and as shown in our introduction, we want to start with the record items. So I go to the tree management page, and you can see we have a subtree here called flight AQP items, and there we have all our phases, and under the phases we have TPOs, SPOs, and EOs. So let's go into approach and landing. Here we have our Cut 3 training objective. And I can also show you here that MINT allows you to set up the system in a way that the user is forced to create the proper structure. So let's say you select the phase, then you only can insert TPOs under the phase. If you have the TPO selected, the system only allows you to include SPOs. That's nice because that prevents the user from making mistakes here. And now I want to show you also the properties that I prepared for this record item. It is in this little example just criticality and currency, but of course you might have many more. So for this example, criticality is no, currency is yes. Then the next part, as in our introduction, is the curriculum. So we go to the products page, we open this A320 recurrent curriculum, and here we have an LOE, so it's an evaluation phase. In this evaluation phase, I included two training objectives, our Cut 3, and I took also the perform low visibility taxiing. And you can see here that we have the properties that I introduced in the little introduction, minimum required media, and I took another one, a condition. And you can see there's a little difference between these two just for this presentation. Minimum media, of course it's an evaluation, must be a full flight sim. So I select this, but the condition, the user may select more than one. And in this example, we have crosswind and runway contaminated standing water. So that's all possible. And I included two here. Okay, and one last thing is important to mention. We have the appear on form property. So if the appear on form property is set to yes, these will be the training objectives that appear on the form. So when the form is created, the system looks through all training objectives where this property is set to yes and shows it on the form. That's how it works. Click on cancel, don't save, and I now already also scheduled a class. So we have a class here scheduled with a captain, with a first officer, and I act here as the instructor. So this is all scheduled here with briefing room, with the simulator, etc. That's all prepared. Let's have a little look into our grade sheet on the forms page. So this is a dynamic form. You can see it's a very, very simple form. If we go to the design, it's very simple. But the important thing here is it does not say cut 3. It's a dynamic form. So if this form is created during runtime, it looks for the training objectives and then displays the training objectives where the property appear on form were set to yes. That's what it is, a very simple grade sheet. So everything is done now. The class is scheduled, the instructor is assigned with 2 trainees. Let's then go now to our iPad and let's start the grading. We have here our new app. Of course, you can do that as always with the web portal, but in the next release of our app, we also allow you to do grading from within the app. So I want to show you this as well here. We select the grading and we have only here 2 because the captain and the first officer. Let's say I want to do that for the captain. I open it for the captain. This is how it looks like. And you can see now nicely we have our cut 3 and we have this other training objectives as well. So let's say both are set and the instructor signs the grade sheet. That's what it is. And then here in this part we select check. So as usual we can check the form. If everything is good, we click on submit and now the form is submitted. Let's go back to our web assistant on the min page. And I remember that Mr. Hayes was the captain. So he receives this. I just graded Mr. Hayes. And you can see he has the 2 training objectives. One was the perform taxi operations, this one. And the other was the cut 3 approach, cut 3. So if I select the cut 3, I open this assignment here. And here we have the other properties. The completion date, I gave him a 2, which was the set, the graded instructor ID and the instructor name. I created another video where I show you how to evaluate in our system these grade scales. So I don't want to talk much about this, but since this video is about curriculum design, I would like to show also now how reports can help you to create curriculum reports. So I created this first example. I included the event name, the record item, the condition, minimum required media, curriculum, criticality and currency. There is no much data in this sample database. We have this training objective obviously also in another curriculum, but in the curriculum that I just showed you, in the A320 recurrent curriculum, we had the perform low visibility taxiing and the cut 3. And the system allows you now to really create nice reports, nice documents for your documentation, where you then can run reports on all properties that you have in your system based on the individual curricula, right? The initial one and the recurrent. Of course, we only have very limited number of properties here and only 2 curricula, but of course in a real system it would be much more, but it gives you a very nice overview. Thank you.